This is the Walk-Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk-Thru.
Welcome into the Walk-Thru, Paige Dower, alongside Jesse Smithy, inside Triple F. As always, it's great to be here talking about high school football, and sadly but excitingly, it's our last one of the season. The state championship game is literally right around the corner.
Week 16. I mean, we were doing the math before the show, like what week is it? But yeah, we finally reached it. 3 teams still left from the 5-Star Preps coverage area. But first and foremost, I'm happy you're back. I'm happy you're in the lead chair. And last week I did a lot of talking, so I'm glad to have you back in the lead host chair, and a lot of fun stuff to get to on tonight's show.
Yeah, no, it's good to have the dynamic duo back. So before we get into our last week games, getting ready for the state championship games, I think one area that everyone's really looking forward to is, of course, the Mr. Finalists, or Mr. Football Finalists coming out.
Yeah, we have a lot coming out, and that will be next week in Nashville after the state championship games have been played. That'll be Tuesday next week at Nissan Stadium. Tennessee Titans will unveil their Mr. Football winners. Finalists were released last week we taped before they came out. So I do want to give a quick shout out. Jaden Bunch from Coalfield, he's a finalist in 1A. Didn't have anybody in 2A. Didn't have anybody in 3A. 4A, Caden Ball, quarterback at Greenville. Thomas Manu, quarterback at Alcoa. And 5A, Caden Long from Central High School. Cooper Newman from Sevier County High School. Nobody in 6A from our area, nobody in Division II Single A. In Division II AA, Shavar Young, Webb School in Knoxville, made a finalist. Tyreek King made finalists in Division II AAA. And then Kicker of the Year, Michael Van Pelt. I think I say his name wrong, but I'm going to go with Michael. Michael Van Pelt from Gibbs High School was a finalist for Kicker Award. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get some winners next week.
Statistically, is it more in favor for the 5-Star Preps area?
Yeah, I think so. 4A and 5A, obviously we have 2 finalists in each of those. And again, I remind everybody, regular season award. I know that
it does. No,
nothing that's happened in the postseason matters in terms of the voting. That was all done. And so we're going to see which players win, but we need some representation in that winners college from East Tennessee.
Coming up this week too, we get ready for the National Signing Day as well, and some high-profile area kids getting ready to ink the dotted line.
Yeah, Tyreek King, Mr. Football finalist we talked about in Division II AAA, and Under Armour All-American wide receiver from Catholic High School, signing with the Vols on Wednesday this week. Brody Smith, whose father owns Triple F, he's signing with NC State. We have Zayden Anderson from Greenville High School signing with the Vols, and a number of other prospects as well. It starts at 8 a.m., I think, on Wednesday, and it ends around 6:30, I think, is my last signing to get to with Jacob Crow, the big offensive lineman who was out here with us earlier in the season, going to Texas Tech. So a lot of big-time talent in the area signing to be midterm enrollees.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's turn our attention to the state championship game, setting the scene for you all a little bit, getting ready for what will come up in the next few weeks, few days. We have 3 teams still competing.
3 teams still alive. Sevier County, defending state champion in Class 5A. Alcoa got that big win over Greenville last week. They are now in the 4A finale. And then, of course, the feel-good story in East Tennessee is Gatlinburg-Pittman in the 3A championship game for the first time ever. We'll talk with their head coach later in the program. Did a nice sit-down interview with Tyler Williams, so make sure you want to catch that. But, we've been keeping track of all the trends and the data from the brackets throughout every stage of the playoffs. We still have 5 defending state champions still alive. That's crazy. And those 5 are going to be in Chattanooga this week. We began the playoffs with 14 undefeated teams in the state. 8 of those are still alive. A lot of matchups between undefeated teams in the BlueCross Bowls in Chattanooga. That just adds a little extra oomph to those games, the fact that they're unbeaten. That all begins Thursday. Division II games will be Thursday, and they're weird. They're not in order like Division II, Single A, Double A, Triple A. It begins with Division II, Double A, then back to Single A, and then Triple A. On Friday, Class 3A will begin at 11 a.m. Then 1A will play at 3 o'clock, and then 5A will be 7 o'clock. And then on Saturday, you got Class 4A, then 2A, then 6A, all those at the same times. Here locally, there's going to be a lot of questions. Don't tweet me, ask me what channel the game is going to be on. I'm telling you right now, it's on WKNX, the Knox as it's known, I think, here in East Tennessee, except one game. Gatlinburg-Pittman will air on WATE on Friday at 11 a.m. I don't know what's going on with the scheduling, but that's just that one game will air at 11 o'clock on WATE. Everything else is on the Knox. And then we got, I think, one more year at Chattanooga, Finley Stadium. By then, the new Titan Stadium should be built.
Yes.
We've been hearing for years now that the Titans are going to do everything that they can to get these games following 2026 into their new stadium for 2027. So this year and next year might be the last years we see in Chattanooga. Then it comes indoors, and if it's indoors, I'm going to be so happy. I don't have to worry about rain, snow, wind, any of that. Yeah, just perfectly room temperature.
We have steady shots with the camera and highlights, not shivering from
that
the
every day,
temperatures.
please. I don't like the cold.
No, but that'd be exciting having those 3 area teams still competing, and of course we'll certainly dive deep into those matchups coming up for those 3 area teams. But any final note before we head over to commercial break?
Yeah, we're going to go do our top 25 plays of 2025 season. That'll be at the end of the show. Make sure you're sticking around for that. And on our way out to break, we're going to catch some Alcoa highlights from their round 4 win.
All right, we'll be right back.
is presented by Smart Bank. Play smart, bank smart. Smart Bank. For more information, visit smartbank.com.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
back into the Walk-Thru Paige Hour alongside Jesse Smithy as we get ready to talk about the state championship games. This is a huge, if you missed it, catch up now. Talking about the state semifinals. Heavyweight matchups. It felt like there was exchanging touchdowns in some of these games, and in others it was all defense. But a couple surprising, and we could start in single A, South Pitt and Coalfield specifically.
Yeah, a rematch of last year's state semifinal, and I think for Coalfield they'd hope to close the gap and maybe really compete for 4 quarters in this game. First play from scrimmage, Coalfield goes 71 yards down the field. Looks like they're going to take a 7-0 lead. South Pittsburgh catches up, punches the ball out, and South Pittsburgh recovers. Next thing you know, it's 14-0 South Pittsburgh at half. They're able to extend that lead in the second half. And this was a South Pittsburgh team that, again, we talked about on the show multiple times about how it is not a 1A team, even though it's in that classification. Yeah. Everybody down there says they look like a 3A team, a 4A team. They had multiple Mr. Football semifinalists. There's a reason why they're moving on to play in the state championship games in 1A. But Coalfield has had an amazing season.
For sure.
Jaden Bunch, their senior running back, ended up getting the yardage that he needed in that game to set all the final records that he needed. I think the single season rushing record. He's got the career rushing record, the touchdown record, but I know it's a bittersweet end for his career.
Yeah, certainly. And then moving on to classification 2A, Marion County, Eagleton, the final score being 33-14. What did you see out of Eagleton? I know we had high hopes for them.
Don't judge it by the score, because this was a tight football game going into the fourth quarter. And for Eagleton, who was the darling of that round, they are only in their 3rd year of football, had never played a state semifinal before. They are hosting the defending state champion.
Yeah.
The fact that they were in it in the fourth quarter is a huge feather in the cap for that program. And they had an opportunity to kind of stay in it late, but I think once they realized that they were losing their grasp on that game, they tried to start doing some things to get back in it, and the mistakes compounded and just got worse. So, that's one of those games where the scoreboard doesn't really reflect what happened in the game. But an unbelievable year for Eagleton. I look forward to what this program does year after year. See if it can build off of this. Yeah,
certainly starting on the right tone just a few seasons into for their program. We'll now turn our attention to the 3 teams that are still alive in the high school football playoffs. We could start in 3A, Gatlinburg-Pittman. I know you mentioned them in the first segment. They end up winning 23-20 over Meigs County. But what's interesting about that one is it seems like it was all defense for GP.
Yeah, I mean, they really stepped up to the plate and played great defense for like the 3rd or 4th week in a row.
Yeah.
And talking with their coach, and you'll hear that interview here later in the program, we'll talk about the versatility of his team and his defense to really slow down or stop any type of offense that's in front of them. And last week, GP got out to a big lead in that state semifinal game against Tyner, and then Tyner made a comeback there late. But GP got the ball with about 4 or 5 minutes left, and their offense was able to just drain clock. And even though things were kind of going awry for them as Tyner tried to make a comeback, the fact that they were able to drain the clock there last 5 minutes of the game, I thought spoke to the overall just kind of mental toughness of that team and be able to do that. And now they're going on to play in their first ever state championship game. The scene afterward was crazy. People all over the field. I tried to get a hold of Coach Williams, and I finally was able to get a call through and talk with him. And everybody down there is excited. It's gonna be a madhouse down there in Chattanooga on Friday.
Oh, I can only imagine. And like Jesse said, we'll hear from Coach Tyler Williams after this break. But now moving up one classification to 4A, it's Alcoa and Greenville. And what a statement win by Alcoa. It's 35-7. And you could specifically look to Jameer Dean and the absolute clinic that he and his quarterback Thomas Manu were able to put on against Greenville.
Yeah, Jameer Dean, I think, 3 catches, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was an absolute man in that game. He was motivated for that game, and I think it showed. But the fact that Alcoa jumped out so big, so quickly on Greenville, just absolutely siphoned all the drama out of that game, all the anticipation out of that game. This was the Greenville team coming off of a huge win over Anderson County, a quarterback who's a Mr. Football finalist, and it was just all Alcoa all night long. At one point in the second half, we're talking about running clock.
Yeah.
Nobody expected that, and it was just Alcoa flexing its muscle like it normally does this time of the year, but this time in Class 4A.
Yeah, I think they had like their 3rd stringers in this matchup as well. And we'll hear from Coach Brian Nix following the interview with Tyler Williams. Moving to our last classification at Sevier County, they were hosting Halls. This was a close game, especially in the first half. You mentioned running clock. That reminded me Sevier County was able to get a running clock on Halls late in the fourth quarter
as well. But it didn't seem like it was going to be like that, right? In the first half, it was Sevier County touchdown, Hall's touchdown, Sevier County touchdown, Hall's touchdown, trick plays all over the place. And like, man, this is going to be an amazing game. It wasn't, because Sevier County's like, look, we want to get back to the state championship game. It's time to put the pedal onto the floor and create some separation. And they were able to do that. Bryson Hedrick is just amazing.
Yeah.
Number 0. I mean, we're talking about rushing touchdowns. We're talking about diving catches in the end zone. We're talking about interceptions. He is all over our top 25 plays of the year that were coming up later in the program. He's in there at least 3 or 4 times. And it just speaks to his playmaking ability. But I want to get your take. Nathan Patterson, the running back from Sevier County, that's a guy that I think ran for 160 yards in that game, number 15. I don't know if you remember him or not, but that guy has absolutely come alive lately.
No, I think he has, and I think part of what they were able to do against Halls was the balanced attack that they had. You mentioned the passing and rushing touchdowns. Well, the running back there, he absolutely was a difference maker in this game. And what was interesting is you mentioned maybe, I think it was an earlier game, maybe Coalfield or Eagleton kind of getting outside of themselves in that matchup. It felt Halls was kind of getting outside of themselves in the second half. They just couldn't keep pace. And then I think Sevier County sensed a little bit of a window and just took it away.
Yeah, I mean, they're used to being in this round. Halls was, again, one of those feel-good stories. They were back in the state semifinals for the first time since, 1996? Yeah. And at times it showed a little bit, but they did such an unbelievable job this year of turning their season around, going from 0-3 all the way to the state semifinals. Brent Hughes, a lot to be proud of with his coaching staff and his players.
Yeah, we don't always see Todd Loveday breaking some smiles out as well, but he was full of smiles in that matchup.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we're going to turn our attention to some of the highlights from that matchup because it was such a beautiful game, especially in the first half. We'll carry that into break. Afterwards, you'll hear from Tyler Williams, the head coach of Gatlinburg-Pittman.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Now joined by Tyler Williams, head football coach at Gatlinburg-Pittman, in the 3A BlueCross Bowl final this week. And Tyler, thanks so much for taking time to join us on the program. I know it's been a busy week, really dating back to last Friday night when you guys won that football game. How much of a whirlwind has it been since the buzzer went and that semifinal game was won?
Yeah, it's been a blur for sure, and been real busy. I was just talking to one of my assistants, our DC, Jimmy Rowe, and I told Jimmy, I said, I feel like the last 3 weeks have been one big day. It's kind of like kind of like Groundhog Day with Bill Murray. I just every day Sonny and Cher are singing, and I wake up and smack the radio off, and it just repeats. Man, it's busy, but it's been fun too, and it's enjoyable. It's a good position to be in, and so trying to soak up all the good stuff and enjoy it, and at the same time still try to prepare to win a big game here.
Does it make you ever wonder like how Alcoa does it every single year, or how Maryville had its heyday when they were just reeling off championship after championship because it's such an exhaustive process.
Yeah, it is. Now it is exhausting, but I'm sure it's like anything else. It has to get easier every time you get to do it. So I mean, I think if if we're hopefully be fortunate enough to get back to this position again, or whether it be next year or 2 or 3 years or whatever. But everything we're doing, we're gonna save, and then we can go back hopefully and say, hey, we like this, we didn't like that, and it gets easier because you know what to expect. It's when you get that email from the TSSAA, that Blue Cross Bowl Bible that they send out to us, it's kind of like, holy Moses, all right, we got work to do.
I do a number of interviews around the state, other media outlets, and they would always ask me, is Gatlinburg Pittman the team that's going to, take the baton or the banner, whatever, from Alcoa and run with it here in East Tennessee? And I try not to judge you guys by the first 3 or 4 games of the season because I think that's unfair. But as the regular season went on, there were teams that, weren't that great. But when you guys beat Forest earlier in the postseason and that running back who had 2,700 yards and 35, 40 some odd touchdowns, for me, that was the moment I'm like, okay, I can really put the credence behind GP as a legit state contender. In your eyes, though, when did you feel like I really got a contender on my hands?
Well, we knew we had a shot. Now did we think we would be 14-0? I mean, I probably wouldn't have bet that. I mean, it's just a hard thing to do. It really
Hmm.
is. I think that's an extremely hard thing to do. I was talking about that with Coach Hammonds, Benny, and he just said, Coach, he said, I don't care who you played, and he did it 5 times, but only in 45 years he did it 5 times. And Benny won a heck of a lot of football games. He said, Coach, people don't realize it's just a hard thing to do. And you got 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that you're counting on, man. It's hard to keep them focused for 14 weeks, and that doesn't include your preseason and your scrimmages and all that stuff, and just to not have a letdown. I mean, you look at Sevier County. I talked about this with Coach Loveday the last couple of weeks because here at Sevier County, we get kind of on the same speaking tour of the local radio station stuff that we do. We're there kind of together like every Tuesday and Wednesday night. And he was like, "Yeah, it's just hard to, they're a really good football team. I think, probably maybe go win it all again and repeat. That's fantastic. They had one off night there against a team that I still think they're probably better than, but they had an off night. I mean, it just happens. You have an off night, and so for our guys to not have an off night this year or any off night we've had that we've been able to come back and win in the second half, it just shows I think our guys have a lot of toughness. They got a lot of grit, and that's probably our most enduring quality.
Also, like the way your team can win seemingly any kind of football game against any type of offense or any type of defense. There's a certain type of versatility to this football team. Am I right in that?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right in that, and that's kind of I mean everybody would like to be that way, but it's hard to be that way. But that's the way we try to design ourselves. I think Coach Rowland does a great job with our defense. That 3-4 is versatile. That's the way That's the reason I like it myself, and I think he does a great job with it. It's very flexible and adaptable to different type of teams. You play a team that is a heavy run physical team like a Meigs County, or you play somebody that's very balanced and athletic like Tyner. And I think our defense has done a good job with all sorts of teams. Same thing on offense. People tell me what kind of offense we like to run. Well, I mean, hell, I'll get in 3 tight ends, and we'll get in 5 wide spread. We'll get in 2 back. We have different personnel packages, and sometimes I think that's why we're a little bit slow starters on offense is because people. It seems like people always because they hear we're a pretty good offense. We got good backs and a quarterback throw. And then they seem that they do different stuff against us. I don't think Westview will, but a lot of the teams we play, I don't know how many times we played people this year, and we went into it. Hey, this is what we're going to see. This is what they've given us. You look like we haven't played Johnson County this year, and they had been this particular defense, seeing this thing. Man, they had an off week like we did. We came out; they were a totally different defense. So even in the game we won big and had a running clock, it took us like 2 drives to figure it out because they were doing something totally different. And you kind of appreciate it. Hey, this is what they're going to be, and here's what to expect. People come out with something totally different. It takes you a minute, and it just seems like we get that a lot. So but anyway, I like to be balanced, not necessarily run pass, but being able to be a running or a passing team, be able to be physical or be finesse, and those are the things that we do try to do. We try to shoot for those things.
Well, while we're talking X's and O's, and you mentioned Westview, who you guys will play in the 3A finale. Of course, we got to see a look at them last year against Alcoa. Is there anything that you can derive from what Alcoa did blueprint-wise against them that you might be able to put into play with your personnel?
Maybe a little bit, but man, if you're going to try to be Alcoa, you may be spitting in the wind. I mean, those guys, they just they I've had a couple more of those guys. Man, they got that big old line always. We don't have a very big offensive line. I mean, it's no secret. I mean, you can try to hide it and go whatever, but I like the qualities of our linemen that we have, and our guys are smaller, but they're still strong. They're athletic. They're smart, and we put them to work in what their strengths are. But I think this is going to be, look, I've not get it's no secret, and I don't have a chance. I've not had a chance to do this before. It's my first state title game, but I do think in talking to some people who have done this before, there has to be an element of be who you are. If we try to come out and do something, I mean, there's wrinkles, sure, but when we try to come out and be something that we haven't done all year and have a whole new playbook, man, you got 4 days to do this stuff just like any other game. And then, of course, we're traveling on Thursday to be down there because we play the 11 o'clock game. So we do have to kind of go out and be who we are. And I'm sure they're going to be who they are. And that's why, I mean, and look, I don't expect Westview to come out with a brand new defense. Again, they may have a wrinkle or two, but I think they're going to be who they are. Why would they be any different? I mean, they're 13-0, been killing people out there in West Tennessee. So, I kind of expect to see the team that we've seen on film, and I think we're going to give them probably the team that they've seen on film for the most part, and probably just come down to execution.
Of course, Graham Simpson is the quarterback of Westview. He is a coach's son, and there's always something different about a coach's son. His dad is the coach at UT Martin. Of course, his older brother is a quarterback at Alabama. He's a sophomore on the roster, but I'm sure he probably plays like a senior, right?
Yeah, he's a pretty good player. I mean, so we were actually talking about that just today before I came in to hop on with you. He makes mistakes. I mean, he's a sophomore, and he'll make mistakes. He'll throw bad balls, but if you're not where you're supposed to be, he'll make you pay too. I mean, he's a good player, passer first, but he can also run a little bit. And you kind of forget about that. If you just leave him with a wide open edge, man, he'll run around there. He can run a little bit, kind of like his older brother. He's just not as big and physically mature as his older brother just yet, but man, he's a heck of a player. It's definitely going to be a challenge for us for sure. And he's got good players to hand it off to and throw it to as well. So they really are a complete football team. I think this game is really going to be what a state championship is supposed to be about. Two really good teams who have had really good seasons going at each other.
I love that in the TSSAA press conferences earlier this week, you were able to talk about Tyson Sutton, your quarterback, and how last year he had a broken foot maybe against Carter in week 3 and had to sit out basically the rest of the year. The fact that he's been able to come back this year, what have you seen out of him? We know that I can look at the stats and see what he's done. He's close to 3,000 yards. But what have you seen out of him ability-wise that just kind of wowed you this year?
We like Tyson's demeanor is, I think it's perfect for our team because our team doesn't get rattled. We've been down to several teams, even teams that we've come back and blown out. We've been in close games we're down to, and Tyson can throw a pick. He hadn't thrown a bunch. He's thrown a lot more touchdowns than he has interceptions, but he can throw a pick and it don't bother him. He's going to come over to the sideline. He's not going to get upset. He's going to take coach and he's going to come back, and you can count on him to throw some good balls. But I just think he's a kid who has done a good job learning and growing in our offense. And, especially for a guy who's really, when he started week one this year with Seymour, man, that was only his fourth start. He only got to play, really 2.5 varsity football games. So he's just a junior. I think Tyson's got a really high ceiling. The one thing that, sometimes we've been a little hesitant to show off sometimes is his running ability. And when you got a kid who can provide such a quality an arm for you and help distribute the ball like he does, we're a little hesitant to run him too much and get him. I think it's kind of like what you see on the other sideline this week. I mean, that kid over there, Simpson, he can run too, but they're not going to run him too much because he's too valuable to the team. So, but just love Tyson's demeanor. Love how accurate he is with the football. He's got a big arm. He can make throws at every level, and occasionally he'll surprise you with his legs, like he did against Meigs County. We had kind of a little half roll concept put out there, and he's kind of floating out there looking. We're down in the red zone. I think we're about on the 12-yard line or something. We're kind of looking for some crossing routes, and he saw that there was a lane there, and man, he just took off like a bullet, went and stuck his head in there and scored the touchdown. It was a big play early in that football game.
Last thing with you, and I really again appreciate your time here today. And you talked about how special the community is at Gatlinburg-Pittman when we spoke after y'all's win last week on Friday night, and then again earlier this week with the TSSAA. Just what have you seen out of Gatlinburg as a whole over the last handful of days?
Well, right now everybody's excited, and man, we are wanting for nothing right now. Like a lot of teams, I'm sure when they go to state, but it's like that with us all the time, and that's what I love about this place is, everybody's really excited because we're getting ready to try to go do something that's never been done here, and we've got a lot of people that are really excited and really behind us. But it's like that all the time here. I tell everybody, Gatlinburg's a special place. Our community support is like nowhere I've been for sure, and we never want for anything. I mean, it's just I try not to ask all the time, but when you ask, man, nobody ever tells you no. They just say, "Hey, what can we do, Coach? We're happy to help," and there's never strings attached. I never have people coming and saying, "Hey, yeah, we buy you some new jerseys. Let's sit down and talk about the offense." I mean, it's never any of that, man. I mean, it's just people wanting to support their community. It's a way that a school should be. And the cool thing is, man, it's not just that with football or even sports. They are like that about everything here. Our community wants the best for our kids. They want to have a school that is well rounded, and they do it the right way. It is just unconditional support. And I'm so appreciative of it. I really am, and I'm blessed to be able to work at this school and this community.
Are we going to be able to tell the two fan bases apart? I mean, both teams are blue and gold. I mean, hopefully there's good signage down there. Yeah, hopefully there's good signage down there in Finley Stadium. But I know it'll be packed. And again, thank you again for joining us on the program, and wish you guys the best of luck on Friday. We'll see you down there.
Absolutely, we're excited for it. Thanks, Jesse.
Absolutely.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Yeah, I just think there was a little bit of doubt. You lose the tight game, Anderson County at the end, and then it's all of a sudden, we go from being one of the best teams in the state. I don't know if Alcoa can do it in 4A, and then you're coming up here again. That's a really good football team. And I said I've played and coached a lot of games here. I don't know if I've seen a team play with more of an edge that we played with tonight. Just physical and nasty, but we did it with class. We did, they had some personal fouls. We didn't retaliate. I couldn't be happier and prouder of our program. And just, answering coming here on the road. I mean, we played 3, at Upperman, at Red. We go to Baxter, we go to Chattanooga, 2-hour road trip. Our kids never flinched. They kept working. They kept believing. And this is a testament. And look at this community. I mean, how many people came up here to support us? No place like Alcoa. We played Thursday. We played Saturday. We'll play it on Tuesday in the parking lot. The fact that we're still playing right now, that's what I told our guys. People will say, that's state championship game. The state championship game is the state championship game, and you got to go down there and you got to win it. And I told our guys we got to have 4 more quarters. of that kind of performance. But just really proud of our coaches, proud of our players.
The Film Room is presented by Smart Bank. Play smart, bank smart. Smart Bank. For more information, visit smartbank.com.
Welcome back into the Walk-Thru Paige Dower alongside Jesse Smithy. The conversation with Brian Nix, he's such a great interview for one, and it was just great to hear the insight from both him and Tyler Williams of Gatlinburg-Pittman. Rewind if you missed any of it. If not, let's go ahead and break down our matchups for the state title game. We could start with the smaller classification with GP and Westview. You mentioned it earlier in the show. It's the first ever appearance in the title game for Gatlinburg-Pittman, clearly taking advantage of Alcoa moving up in the classification for one.
Right, and so Westview is their opponent this week. Martin Westview. They were in the 3A final last year against Alcoa, and Alcoa absolutely just muted their offense. That was an offense that came in averaging like around 56, 57 points per game, and Alcoa absolutely shut them down. Now, at the time, Graham Simpson was the quarterback for Westview. He was a freshman, so now he's a sophomore. Of course, he's the younger brother of Ty Simpson, the quarterback at Alabama, and the son of UT Martin head coach Jason Simpson. So he's a sophomore, and Paige, as I started to learn more about this Westview team, I fully expected like transfers to come in on the offensive line to really protect this great quarterback that's back there. But their offensive line is not that big at all, Martin Westview. Their average are like 5'11", 230 on the offensive front, which is shocking to me that you have that valuable of a quarterback and a running back who's a Power 4 prospect.
Okay, wow.
So that's a point
Not
of
much
attack.
protection, yeah.
So it's a point of attack for Gatlinburg-Pittman, who has a very good defensive front, active defensive front. Maybe not anybody that's going to be a Power 4 defensive tackle, anything like that, but very, very active, and they get after things defensively at GP. So keep an eye on that matchup about how the Highlanders attack that smaller offensive front. But Gatlinburg-Pittman's coach will tell you, and he talked about it in that interview with us, they're not very big on the offensive line either. So they have to get the ball out quickly, but they've been able to run the football well this year as well. So this is a nice matchup of teams with Division I players on it at running back, very productive quarterbacks, undersized line at times. So this might all come down to possible kicking game, who makes the fewest mistakes, and what the weather might be like Friday. It's not looking very good for Friday, so whoever can kind of handle that. But if GP can kind of weather their nerves early, remember they've never been in this situation, don't make mistakes early, stay in it, give yourself a puncher's chance in the second half. I like Gatlinburg-Pittman to win this football game. I am pulling off the upset win. I'm calling GP.
Season is what you're predicting.
I'm calling GP victory.
Okay, I like
it's
that.
It's gonna be a great game back and forth. GP's just shown resiliency all throughout the playoffs and a way to beat a variety of teams.
And what I think is important about their last game against Tyner is being able to win a close game late in the season, 23-20, and relying on the defense, like you mentioned.
They can stop athletes, they can stop ground game, they can do anything they want to. It seems like defensively, they'll find a way to scheme up something, I think, for Westview.
Moving on to 5A, I'll circle GP, and we'll talk about that maybe next week for an extra show.
Yeah.
No, okay. 5A is Sevier County, and it's Paige. And Paige might sound familiar to you all because they've been in the title game the last 4 seasons. But area teams and 5-star preps not playing too kindly to Paige.
They are not. But here's the thing: Paige has not gone down there and gotten blown out every year and been like some kind of joke of a program. The games against Powell has been close. There are games that came down to the wire against West. The game last year with Sevier County was an unbelievable game, back and forth affair. So this is a Paige program that has found a way to keep coming back to this stage. They lost 3 Division I players off of its defense from a year ago.
Oh, wow.
1 to Tennessee, 1 to Louisville, 1 to Wake Forest, and they're still back here. They had a transfer at quarterback come in, and he won the job and has done very well. But again, it's not a team that's littered with Division I products. This time around, it's Sevier County who will be the hunted, and they're the ones that has the great quarterback that's a Power 4 prospect. Parker Newman, Power 4 prospect, as a linebacker / tight end. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Sevier County handles a different perspective going into that state championship game. That being said, with what I've seen out of Sevier County the last handful of weeks and what I've seen out of their running game, taking the pressure off of Cooper Newman at quarterback, I like Sevier County to win this football game again.
Yeah, I like them too. Would you tell me a couple touchdowns? What's your score? What's your range?
Again, man, it all comes down to the weather, and that's going to be Friday night. It might be one of those wintry mixes, so we'll see how that plays. But it was cold, it was brutal last year, and it was a tight game. I'll give Sevier County by 10.
By 10? Okay.
Late touchdown to kind of create double digits.
Yeah, garbage time maybe. Okay. 4A, our last team in our coverage area competing for a state title is none other than Alcoa. They're now in 4A, moving up from 3A. They'll take on Pearl Cone. I want to maybe get your take. You've obviously covered Alcoa for a number of seasons, and sometimes to the disadvantage of Alcoa, it might get boring that they're always the one winning. It might be expected that they're going to go and win the state title, now being in 4A. Is this one of the more important for maybe the legacy of Alcoa to come up here and, you know, maybe beat up on somebody their own size, as they say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've taken it to heart that people kind of doubted them after they lost to Anderson County in that final week of the regular season. You had people like me picking against them against Greenville. And so it's been different for them as a program to not be the one that's been picked to win by 21 points every single week. And I think they've used that as motivation, and rightfully so. I would too. But they have gone on the road the last 3 weeks and absolutely imposed their will on teams. And even though they've been banged up in certain spots, there's been new guys that have come to the forefront and played heroic roles. Damari DeBose at running back. I mean, what is that kid? 5'8", 150 pounds?
Maybe.
And that guy's making big plays left and right. So even though Condis Cherry is out at running back, there's been other players that they can plug in place and get productivity out of. Thomas Manu still with more touchdowns thrown than incompletions. We're in the state championship game.
And
It's not supposed to be like that. But he's played masterfully in his first year as QB1. For that reason, I mean, I like Alcoa, and I think they're going to win this game big.
Yeah.
Pearl Cone, good program, great program. They were 0-4 maybe to start the year. Played a brutal schedule on the front end of the year. Brian Nix, the head coach, talked about the Pearl Cone quarterback in early week media sessions with the TSSAA. He said, keep an eye on Pearl Cone's quarterback. He's like your ultimate leader, rah-rah guy, kind of gets, everybody feeds off of him. And so if Alcoa can contain him, I like them to win this game. I think they win it big, though.
More than 10?
More than 10.
More than 20?
Yeah, somewhere in there, 20 to 24.
All right, we'll keep tabs on the score predictions from Jesse Smithy, picking all the 5-star prep area teams. And I know there are a couple other teams that you're wanting to maybe focus on the other classifications as well.
Right, but before we get to our top 25 plays of 2025, I want to kind of predict the other classifications. In 1A, taking South Pittsburgh to win that game over McKenzie. That'll be a fantastic football game. In 2A, I'm going with Huntington out of West Tennessee to upset defending state champion Marion County. I watched Huntington play against Milan. Huge kids on that team. They don't look like a 2A team. 6A, I'm going to go with Oakland again to beat Ravenwood, a matchup of unbeaten teams, so that one should be fun. In Division II Single A, Jared Curtis recently flipped from Georgia to Vanderbilt. We're talking about a 5-star quarterback. There's going to be a media scrum around him at that championship. I still like Nashville Christian School, which he quarterbacks, to win over USJ in Division II Single A. Division II AA, BGA, the team that beat Grace Christian. Everybody's still talking about that team that got to see them. So for that, I have to go with BGA to win that football game. And then in Division II AAA, no shock here, I'm going with Chattanooga Baylor.
Yes.
David Gabriel Georges. Can't wait to see what he does in that championship game. In the semifinals, he ran for like 470 and 7 touchdowns. I mean, that guy is unbelievable.
Fake. Yeah.
So, Thursday night, 7 o'clock, make sure you're tuning in to watch him run the football. Tennessee is after this guy's really hard.
Yeah, absolutely, and it makes sense why he would be. And then we have our top plays, some of our top plays from 2025.
I have them numbered from 25 down to 1, so hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Which play do you like the most?
One of Bryson Hedrick's.
Okay, yeah. He's in there like 3 times, so hopefully you can enjoy that. Jesse, it's been great being on here with you for a second season, and hopefully you all have enjoyed our conversation and insight to these key matchups throughout the season.
Yeah, and thanks to Triple F. They've been an amazing host and sponsor of what we do here at the Walk-Thru, and Paige, can't thank you enough for hosting. And hope everybody enjoys the state championship game and these top 25 plays.
Yeah, of course. And thank you to all of the guest interviews that made the trip down here to Triple F to be a part of the show. And look forward to all the coverage on 5starpreps.com for the state championship games later this week. We'll see you guys next season.
This is the Walk-Thru, powered by Triple F Elite Sports Training. Train like a pro. Your all-access pass to the biggest games, hottest stories, and everything high school football in East Tennessee. From the Friday night lights to the chase for championships, we bring you the stars, the headlines, and every heart-pounding moment. So strap on that chin strap and get ready. Jesse, Paige, and the 5-Star Preps team are here with the most complete high school football coverage in the state. This is the Walk-Thru.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.